As so many of you that personally know me know how much of a big maritime person I am. Attending school at Texas A&M University at their Galveston Maritime Academy actually took me one step closer to what really was the love and the passion of maritime. So I've decided to make a little video to show you how important the canal is to global trade and how strong and powerful the US still is. For example, Britain, Israel, and France tried to take it over, but once Eisenhower got in, things changed quickly.
The Suez Canal opened in 1869 when Britain controlled Egypt. The canal created an artificial waterway between the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea, making trade more convenient between Europe and East Asia. The Suez Canal was of great importance to the British because it connected directly to its empire. In 1922, Egypt achieved its independence from the British and took steps to maintaining control of the canal. In 1936, the Anglo-Egyptian Treaty was signed by Britain and Egypt, allowing British troops to remain in the canal zone until 1956. But things were changing in Egypt, and not for the better. At that time, Gamal Abdel Nasser became the president of Egypt. By 1954, Nasser started to pressure the British to get their troops to leaving, but things changed even more when Nikita Khrushchev, leader of the Soviet Communist Party, decided to support the Egyptians. In July of 1956, with the financial and armed support of President Khrushchev, President Nasser ordered Egyptian troops to take control of the canal and nationalize it, which now means he made the canal Egyptians' public property. This is when the Aswan Dam was built, as Egyptians' plan was to start it as a On October 29, 1956, Israel attacks Egypt. Israel wanted to resolve the Suez crisis as well as to open the Straits of Tiran. On October 31st, the British and the French forces attacked and took control of the areas around the Suez. By November 5th, 1956, Khrushchev threatened to nuke Western Europe, but Britain and France did not withdraw from Egypt. And that is when President Eisenhower warned Khrushchev not to get involved. President Eisenhower, he was really upset that he was left out in the dark from what France and Britain was doing. So then he threatened the three countries with all economic sanctions if they did not withdraw from Egypt. Finally, on December 23rd, 1956, Britain and France withdrew.
So there you have it. In 1956, Eisenhower steps in and the canal reopens. After threatening sanctions to Israel, Britain, and France, that made it very clear that the U.S. is still a powerhouse to mess with. So that brings us to today's situation in the Suez Canal. An evergreen vessel by the name of Ever Given has blocked off the canal completely and no vessels can get through. They're projecting a loss of $400 billion an hour until this is resolved. So nobody really knows when it's actually going to be opened up, but it's your guess is as good as mine. But I did put a little clip together to give you a little bit more detail of what's really going on.
Dredging crews are moving massive amounts of sand and freeing a skyscraper-sized container ship stuck sideways in the Suez Canal, one of the world's busiest shipping routes. The 1,312-foot, 200-metric-ton Ever Given, nearly a quarter of a mile long, created a shipper's nightmare and captured the public's imagination when it blocked the canal on Tuesday and caused a traffic jam of more than 200 ships as of Friday. The canal is 120 miles long, linking the Mediterranean and Red Sea, and carries about 10 to 12% of our commercial shipping and about 2.5% of the world's oil. A German insurer said the delays could cost global trade $6 billion to $10 billion a week. The salvage company will try to free the ship on Saturday using large tugboats and dredging during the high tide. At least 2 attempts have been made. Salvagers are also considering moving containers off the ship to lighten it to make it easier to move. As many attempts have been made on Friday, they have still all failed. The Ever Given is stuck near the Egyptian city of Suez, about 3.7 miles north of the canal's southern entrance. It's a narrow section of the canal and about 985 feet wide. Owners say the high winds in a sandstorm pushed the ship sideways, wedging it into both banks of the waterway. Containers stacked on the deck could have acted as a sail to have caused this issue. The AP reported that at least 280 ships carrying everything from cars to oil to grain waiting at the canal's northern and southern entrances. At least 10 tugboats have been brought in to reposition and refloat the vessel. But still, there has been no success. Authorities are disagreeing on how long the canal will be blocked. The shipper owner says that it would like to see it be freed by no later than March 27. The uncertainty has forced shipper to alter course and take a longer alternative route around the Cape of Good Hope in Africa, adding weeks to their destination and increasing fears of piracy. Officials are under great pressure to remove the ship, as well as getting a lot of pressure from other vessels that must get through so that commerce can continue.
There you have it, guys. So there hasn't been really much progress. The canal is still blocked. The owner of the vessel thinks that they could get it unblocked by the end of March 27th, which I highly doubt. But we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted. But one thing I do know is that it's not your forwarder's fault. Anyways, thank you so much, guys. We will see you guys on Thursday with Mr. Bill Paul on our podcast to discuss about market conditions as well as employment placement. Thanks, and be well.